All right, we're live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we're going to talk about a bunch of different pieces of great news for crypto, this entire space as a whole. Talking about that, we're looking at the cryptocurrency prices, what's going on with the markets today, some pretty crazy innovations that are happening inside the blockchain space, and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to become a blockchain master step by step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so it looks like I got a little hiccup in the live stream here, so I think we're all good. Let me know down in the comment section below if you can hear me okay. Awesome. So we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Culture Hives, Inkim, Jeff, Bartos, Gabriel, Malik, Anuj, Anthony. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's talk about some amazing news in the cryptocurrency space that's happened over the past couple days or so. And I'll tell you why I'm making this video. Okay, I've seen a lot of people kind of get on the, the YouTube machine here, just making like hopium videos, trying to say like, hey, keep your head up, like the price of cryptocurrency is down, all that type of stuff. So that's not really why I'm making this video, at least not to give you false hope, okay, to talk about some really great stuff that I'm seeing, because another reason I'm making this video is I actually went on the around the blockchain show with the BitBoy Crypto, so definitely go check that out yesterday. And this is one of the questions we were asked, like, hey, why are you bullish on this space right now despite the cryptocurrency prices tanking? All right, my number one answer that I gave on that is technological innovation and all the crazy stuff that's happening inside this space, because the long-term thesis on this channel has always been, as technological innovation continues in this space, that there will be value accrued to the actual cryptocurrencies themselves, because ultimately there's supply and demand pricing, okay? So, the price action we've seen over the past few months, could that have been bubblish? Like, could the Bitcoin price risen really fast? Some of the other cryptocurrencies, have they risen really fast and may have popped at least temporarily? That can be true, but what can also be true at the same time is a parabolic or exponential technological trend that's taking off and value accruing to those cryptocurrencies long term. So let's talk about some crazy innovations that are happening right now that support that thesis. And these are some reasons I'm so bullish, and why I focus so much on technology on this channel, and why I think technology is one of the best ways to actually make long-term success with crypto, especially for people who have technical skills to take advantage of it, which is what I try to focus on this channel. Okay, so let's start off with something we talked about yesterday on that stream, which I think is actually pretty crazy. Okay, so let's look at this first piece of news here. Let me pull it up. So this is the Bank of Israel testing Ethereum tech in the digital shekel trial. Okay, so central bank digital currencies have been a recurring theme of the blockchain space over the past year or so. People talking about governments actually issuing digital payment solutions. And, there's mixed opinions on this, whether this is a good thing for crypto, whether this is a bad thing, whether it's an anti-crypto, or whether it gives crypto legitimacy. So, that's a complicated debate. We can talk about it a ton on this channel, but one of the things that I'm trying to show you with this is that people are taking this very seriously despite what's happened with recent cryptocurrency price action. It's the same thing happened at the end of the last 2017 bubble, where it basically popped. And then the people who who secured amazing positions during those times, people who doubled down the technology, doubled down what's actually happening from an innovation perspective in crypto. And this is where it's headed. I mean, I think the central bank digital currencies are eventually an inevitability. We don't exactly know how they're going to be implemented, but at least in the short to midterm, you see lots of people flowing back to Ethereum for this type of thing. We saw Visa launching their payment solution with Crypto.com, or at least experiment with this over the past several months during this bull run, where they're actually settling payments on top of the Ethereum platform. And this looks like a really similar type of thing. Many times people are talking about, hey, what technology should we use for this? What technology should we use for that when we're experimenting with blockchain technology? Many times, many times, almost every time, the answer ends up being Ethereum, because there's so much you can do with it from a developer's perspective, with smart contracts, having the network effects with the users on top of it, and all that type of stuff. So this is insanely bullish. So there's a lot more of these updates that I want to talk about, but let's go ahead and jump into the check on the prices and what's actually going on there. There's some pretty cool stuff that I want to show you with that too. Someone says, somebody says they have a customer support question. You can direct a customer support question to Gregory at dappuniversity.com. So let's talk about yeah, let's look actually what's going on with cryptocurrency prices right now. So of course, Bitcoin is trying to make up its mind about what it's going to do. We've seen a major price correction over the past few months at this point. And one thing we're actually seeing on the chart, which is a little bit of hope here, at least in the short term, is a third daily green candle. I actually watched a video yesterday from Benjamin Cohen over at Into the Cryptoverse. Definitely check out his channel if you haven't already. He was making this video talking about, the third green candle in a row for Bitcoin. We don't necessarily know if this is like any significant pattern or anything like that, but it's at least a little bit of short-term hope where we haven't seen like a third daily green candle in a row on the Bitcoin chart, since this kind of peak up in here. So we don't know if this is actually like significant necessarily, on the grand scheme of things, especially because these candles are kind of somewhat arbitrary anyway, just measured in UTC time zone, and maybe if you offset like the time zone somewhere else, you could find a daily candle that is 3 days in a row or something like that. But anyways, in the short term, at least a little bit of hope. So this is one of those things we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. Time will tell. Before I flipped, bullish short to midterm on the price of Bitcoin, I would definitely want to see some sort of confirmation of a trend reversal, and we really just don't have that yet. I mean, it still looks like a downward trend. It's going to take probably some consolidation, honestly, before it would go higher. Now, that being said, some people think a V-shaped recovery could happen. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not holding out hope for that just yet. So one thing that is actually bullish, though, in terms of the actual prices of Bitcoin, let me just find this. Hold on a second. Let's see here. Is actually we can look at the on-chain metrics for what long-term holders are doing with Bitcoin. Okay, so this is kind of typical for some of these tops, at least local tops, or maybe short to midterm tops. We can see a pattern of what long-term holders are doing with Bitcoin. So definitely credit to Michael for this. But basically, this is a Glassnode chart. So this is on-chain metrics where we can actually analyze Bitcoin wallets and what they're doing. You can see what long-term holders are doing here. So essentially, the amount of Bitcoin held by long-term holders is going up. Okay. So you can see, you could read into that data from multiple different ways, but I think the big picture here is people who have high conviction on Bitcoin for the long term are basically accumulating at this point. Okay, you can see the opposite is true. Supply held by short-term holders, goes up like this, and then whenever this bubble pops, it just starts going down like crazy, and that can be a big part of the, sort of the cycle that we've seen here. And essentially what you can see is Bitcoin changing hands. You can see it being accumulated by long-term holders here and sold to short-term holders here. And the short-term holders are basically selling it back to long-term holders as the price is dipping like this. Okay. So, I mean, it's one of those, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to just go start buying into Bitcoin right now. But people have been around crypto for a long time, have learned to kind of think opposite in terms of, what everybody else is doing. And essentially, the long-term holders are doing opposite of what the Herb was doing. What Herb was basically FOMOing in as the price was going up, which is kind of the opposite of what you should do. And the data suggests that long-term holders are seeing this as a buying opportunity. So, let's look at some other pretty great news. So, I mean, those are also just positive things for the markets in general. Like I said, we don't know what that looks like on the short to midterm for the prices of the cryptocurrencies themselves. We could be in this consolidation period or even a downward trend still for longer, and all these things be true. Like, nobody's got a crystal ball and actually knows. And I'd like to see a trend reversal before we are just bullish on what's going to happen next with the Bitcoin price. But long term, I mean, this is hope, because some people think, oh my gosh, Bitcoin is going to zero. Bitcoin's not going to zero unless there was some sort of black swan event or something like that. So, I mean, I know it's a natural fear that especially some new people to crypto have. Let's just take a look at a couple other things. So we can see a couple other on-chain metrics here. We can see stable coins on exchanges are way high. Okay, so if you look at all-time high for stablecoins on exchanges, you can see this here. This is from Julian, so full credit here. Crypto Quant. But yeah, we're peaking up high. this is the Bitcoin price, this is stablecoins on exchanges. You can read into that metric a lot. I think one big factor is basically people just waiting for a buying opportunity. So let's see here. So another pretty bullish piece of news on the technological innovation side, which is what I'm trying to keep the theme of this video about, is we do have the EIP 1559 network upgrade for Ethereum live on the test network. Okay, so this is sort of a milestone for this big effort. We talk about the benefit of this proposal. Essentially, this is what takes Ethereum and makes everybody talking about ETH kind of being, you know, deflationary at some time, or ETH getting burned. Well, this is the proposal that does that. There's the network upgrade that does that. So essentially what this does is whenever you send Ethereum transactions, that part of that fee gets burnt, okay? And that it can have an effect on the Ethereum supply, and if it affects the Ethereum supply and at least the demand stays the same and doesn't decrease, then that can have a positive impact on the price of Ether itself. Okay, so there's a lot of assumptions with that, like the network activity has to say sustained. We still have to have demand for Ether, the actual asset itself, you know, for it to make the price go up. But it's good for ETH for a lot of reasons. I mean, people have skepticism about blockchain projects in general. You know, worried that they're not going to do what they say they are, and this is, you know, a clear sign that ETH is, you know, on track to hitting its goals. Okay, so we have EIP 1559 launch on test network. So the last major news I heard about this was that the mainnet launch is still slated for probably late July to maybe early mid-August. I think the initial desire was mid-July, but I think it's getting pushed back a little bit. But I don't think we're just like majorly delayed on that. So I think this is proof. So we're super excited about this. Again, we're like, people who build in this space are seeing this as a massive opportunity, you know, to create something and get ahead of the next big wave. Because we're talking about like long-term success, especially when you're talking about building a business or building a platform like this. A lot of it's about positioning. Okay, so it's about going in and doing the hard work when nobody else cares, and then getting in that position to when people really start caring again. You're just in an amazing spot to just like start capturing all that market share, capturing all the rewards of that hard work. Okay, so you can think about it like if you're hunting for an opportunity, it's just like buying cryptocurrencies. It's like if you're hunting for an opportunity, where do you want to go? Something with the most, you know, upside potential, and look at your risk reward. It's sort of like you want to find a room that's like not crowded at all, where a lot of people are going to flock into it later. And so if you can go get inside that room before everybody else does and set up something where you can sort of capitalize on the opportunity, it's like, boom. So we see more evidence of that with an insane amount of startup funding, okay? So, you know, like I said, at the end of the day, my goal is to help people succeed in this space, especially with technical skills. One of the reasons I'm so big on coding and helping people learn programming, because blockchain development is probably one of the most in-demand skills on the face of the earth right now relative to the supply. And we can see stuff like this. So A16Z triples down on blockchain startups with a massive investment here. So a $2.2 billion crypto fund. Okay. All right. So, and this is committed to startups, okay, by building blockchain projects. So $2.2 billion. This is, I believe, the largest vertical specific fund ever, or the firm's largest vertical specific fund ever by quite a lot. So this is a major bet on blockchain and where it's headed. And like I said, people ask me like, hey, you know, how do you see the demand for tech talent in this space? Well, this is an example. It's because you see, we're not talking about people just investing in cryptocurrency. We're talking about people, you know, funds like this who are actually investing in startups building in this space, which creates an insane amount of demand for technical talent. People ask, you know, why are you so bullish on crypto space in the whole? And my answer is the tech and what it's doing. What do you think people who are running $2.2 billion funds are seeing, right? They're creating funds that are the largest vertical in their firm by a long shot. Why are they making huge bets on crypto as an innovative technology? Because it is a massively innovative technology. So, of course, we got that. We see a bunch of other amazing things, stats for the Ethereum network itself. You know, in addition to EIP 1559, I actually saw this the other day and, you know, wanted to break it up. So over, credit to Nick for bringing this up, but over 100,000 ETH just went into the ETH to deposit contract the other day. This was on the ETH dip. We just saw this massive spike. Okay. So you can see it's going up, and this is a cumulative graph. Okay, so it never goes down unless people withdraw, which they, you know, well, it's a cumulative graph. So, anyways, but you see this massive spike up right here. It's crazy. Other stuff that we do see. Of course, I guess we do have to talk about the tragedy that happened yesterday with, you know, John McAfee. You know, I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories that people have. Honestly, conspiracy, but like people's viewpoints on whether this is actually true or if it's like, you know, if we can take the news at face value on what happened to John McAfee. You know, if you didn't catch the news, you know, he was pronounced dead yesterday. Was supposed to be extradited back to the U.S. There's lots of details there. I won't get into all those. You can, you know, just do a quick Google search and find out all that. He was, of course, a very colorful guy. You know, it was insane person in the space, like in 2017, last major crypto bull run, like coin of the day, all that type of stuff. Polarizing figure for sure, but definitely brought a lot of color to the space. So rest in peace, John McAfee. Definitely need to pour one out there. So another thing that we have here is I want to talk about, so I pulled this up on my screen here. Actually, let's just see if we got any other questions in the chat here. Somebody said Dude was a blockchain master. Yeah, it is sad. Somebody says, nah, there's a clear conspiracy. Yeah, it could be. So, another trend we're seeing is Bitcoin ETFs. All right, this is something people have been holding out hope for a long time, especially like in the United States. You know, we'll see that we're definitely held up by regulations in that regard. Bitcoin ETFs begin trading in Brazil, in Dubai stock exchanges. So this is the first in their regions. This also looks like a trend. You know, we're seeing lots of trends sort of converge here. People's interest in ETFs for cryptos, particularly for Bitcoin, it's exchange traded funds. We're seeing trends for central bank digital currencies. We're seeing, you know, trends for all this type of stuff converge. And like I said, what do I see driving? Why am I so bullish on crypto? Well, it's demand for the technology itself. It's demand for everything inside of it. And this is another example of how people are trying to get exposure to that. They're trying to get exposure to Bitcoin through traditional means, which is through these exchange traded funds. Another trend here. And we also see in terms of, and like I said, you know, that value gets distributed everywhere in the space. It gets distributed to people who hold cryptocurrencies for the long term. It gets distributed to people who are working in this space, which, like I say, I think it's one of the best ways to create long-term, you know, opportunity for yourself in blockchain by learning the skills. You know, we talk about, you know, how people are funding these projects. If you want to build your own project, if you want to, you know, join a team who's building something amazing. I mean, I see the sentiment going around everywhere. You know, talk about Ben earlier from Into the Cryptoverse, but he tweeted this out yesterday, and I replied, you know, he gets it. You know, he says the world needs more blockchain devs. I said, you know, now's the time to double down on your technical skills and build something awesome because the demand is sky high. It's absolutely crazy. Somebody says the market is pumping. So let's just take a look at what's happening with Bitcoin. Maybe they like the live stream. Maybe the whole market's watching my live stream. they like what I'm saying, and so it's pumping. I doubt it. There's no way I have any influence on $1 trillion cryptocurrency. So yeah, we'll see if this green daily candle closes as a third in a row. Again, I don't know if this is like really statistically significant when you're talking about the charts, but it's still, you know, it's some hope. Somebody says, "Are you mad you sold?" Somebody says, "Brian John was a market green." Somebody says, "Good job, Greg Musk." Yeah, that's right. I have my last name legally changed, so no one knows that I'm, Elon Musk's secret kin. So this is something I also saw the other day that was pretty crazy, because one thing that's made blockchain. One thing where blockchain is so amazing is because it's essentially automation. You know what I mean? You're automating away. You're reinventing how people use technology and services. Basically, protocols are replacing businesses in this case. It's a new level of automation, and that's how you create value. And you can see the efficiency of that automation when you're talking about how much revenue that brings into those protocols per the number of people who work on it. Okay. And so I saw this come up the other day. I wanted to bring it up. This is some Banteg from the Yearn finance team, but this was a clip from the Defiant where they talked about this. So they talked about how they looked at the protocol revenue versus the company revenue to highlight how much value a DeFi protocol can provide towards like in comparison to a traditional company, right? How it's insane efficiency. So with 21 mostly pseudonymous team members, Yearn currently spent 133,716 in salaries throughout April as per Wi-Fi stats. In contrast, robo-advisors, Betterment, and Wealthfront have 293 and 213 employees, while BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, employs 16,500. This means that Yearn is orders of magnitude more efficient in terms of dollars generated per employee, projecting a whopping $5.86 million per team member in revenue for this year. Okay, so you can see like a 21 member team generated $123 million in revenue. That's $5.86 million in revenue per team member, as opposed to Betterment or Wealthfront, which generated about 17, it's not 17 cents, it's 0.17 million. So that's like $170,000. Yeah, and then Wealthfront and then BlackRock. So it's insane how efficient blockchain is in DeFi, because again, the smart contracts automate away a lot of this stuff. That's one of the reasons you're able to generate high competitive savings rates with blockchain, which I've always said is a killer app for blockchain technology, for DeFi for sure, because you can offer interest rates and benefits that you can't get somewhere else for stable currencies, right? So one of the reasons you can do that is because of automation. Whenever you put cryptocurrency into a smart contract, I'm not saying this is safe for everybody to do right now, full disclosure, there's still risks involved, but when you put cryptocurrency into a smart contract like this, it lets people take out loans on the other side. Essentially, it's doing what your bank is doing. You're depositing funds, they're lending out on the other side, but it cuts out all that middleman, all that fat. And then also, you don't have this, you don't have a central bank that's talking about like, prime interest or the lending rate or anything like that. The market's like totally deciding. So that's one way that automation, creates benefits for the technology that you can't get somewhere else. And this is a way where you can actually measure the efficiency and determine the revenue of the protocol per team member compared to other traditional financial products. Somebody has my Slack link. It's another customer support question. So if you have a customer support question, you can reach out to Gregory at dappuniversity.com. We'll get you taken care of. Somebody says they saw they ran the blockchain episode yesterday. Awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, we'll probably do another one of those again soon. So let's see here. Somebody said they use a staking token sale projects as a template. Awesome, awesome. Suppose the U.S. government doesn't want all these countries making crypto their official currency. They won't be able to do sanctions. What's my position in thinking on AMC stock? Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion. What program do I use to view crypto prices and statistics? So I use a lot of different ones. I mean, for just basic checks, I use a website like coingecko.com, but you can use TradingView. You just sign up for an account. It's free. That's what I'm using here to look at these like candlestick charts. You can just change your settings to go to candles here. You can put the moving averages on the screen with like the settings. Okay, and that's I got these moving averages on here. You can turn them on and off. Turn it back on. Yeah. Again, I'm not a big technical analysis person in the sense of I'm not super skilled at TA. I do see there's value in some TA. You know, when you're talking about big picture stuff, like these moving averages, I think are a pretty good indicator. People talking about Bitcoin breaking these moving averages, you know, it's kind of a big deal. And I mean, for good reason. I mean, a moving average is essentially talking about your past performance. And are you outperforming your past performance? If you are, you're in a bull trend. You know what I mean? If you're underperforming your past performance, you're in a bear trend. I mean, it's pretty simple. So I think some of these basic TA indicators are very useful. That doesn't mean you're going to know what the price is going to be, you know, tomorrow or, you know, in 2 days or even in a month. But I think it's good for kind of getting a temperature check on what the market's doing. Someone says Chainlink is the most innovative blockchain project out there. It's pretty innovative project. Someone says, what do I think the bottom is on Bitcoin? Yeah, I don't know. I'd be very happy if we just hit the bottom. I'll put it that way. So how tall am I? I'm about 6 feet tall. This is lagging. Okay, I think we're good now. Somebody says, are we going to see sub 30K again? We could. Somebody says stream stopped. I think we're good now. I don't know what's going on. I've got perfect green status on my live streaming software. Okay, I think we're good. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think just the connection to YouTube is kind of finicky. We're all good. Awesome. So we got any more questions in the chat here? Somebody says, what kind of timeline do I anticipate for crypto to reach adoption? So the real question here is just the rate of adoption and how many people will use it. And so how would you measure that? Would you measure it basically by people just holding cryptocurrency in a wallet and speculating on the price long term, or, you know, investing in it? Or are you talking about, you know, people actually using blockchain technology like DeFi or whatever else we build with this technology long term, like NFTs, you know, whatever else comes down the pike, you know, later? Because I think there will be more use cases for blockchain technology that emerge as, you know, some of these things get solved. Okay. Because I talked about this yesterday on the Around the Blockchain show. Again, you can go check out that if you haven't already. But, you know, when I started in crypto in 2017, and I saw the top, and then I saw, you know, the entire space just kind of evaporate in terms of interest over the next couple of years. But I saw the massive potential for the technology because I was already a programmer. You know what I mean? I saw we could do the smart contracts. I was getting in there and building things. But we weren't exactly sure what that looked like. We saw the potential, but we didn't know concretely like what we were going to create. And, you know, DeFi was just kind of an idea in people's heads at that point. And we started to make that, and it's found product market fit. DeFi exploded, the crypto space exploded, NFTs exploded. And so we're kind of at this situation, it's sort of like you don't know what you don't know. And there will be more use cases that come out down the road, you know what I mean? And so answering the question here is a long answer, but we don't know what the timeline of adoption is for like NFTs being like representing deeds, titles to a house, or deeds to a house, right? Part of the hang up there is regulation, right? People using DeFi, we don't know how long it'll take for that to gain more adoption, and we don't know how much adoption that'll honestly capture, because think about it this way, like, you know, what if DeFi actually does replace traditional finance or become a better alternative, or a good alternative to traditional finance? Well, like certain parts of the financial sector are not really adopted by that many people in the grand scheme of things. Like, how many kind of normal people do you know that like day trade, you know what I mean, or use or have ever like touched a derivative contract. You know what I mean? Some people don't even know what that is. So you could still build this crazy world of finance that gains a lot of adoption without it, you know, having mass adoption in the sense of like, you know, your grandmother uses it or something like that. Now, that being said, I do think we can have use cases for blockchain technology for crypto where everybody uses it. You know, if we have some sort of digital currencies that are better payment solutions, or basically what I was talking about before, you know, savings and lending, where you can create savings and lending apps where more people can use it. They don't even have to know they're using blockchain technology. It's just hard to measure, you know, what the actual adoption looks like. But I think, you know, it's up, and it's up fast, and it's up with a steep curve. I don't think about things too much in terms of like timeline, in terms of like how many years it's going to take or how many months it's going to take, you know, because I don't think about cryptocurrency prices that way. I just think about what are the opportunities that are out there in the world. Blockchain's an amazing opportunity. It's probably outpacing anything else that I could spend all my time and energy on. That's how I think about it. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. That really helps these videos out, like really smash it. That helps these videos get found so the more people can learn about blockchain. You know, if you like these videos, you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a massive shortcut entirely, I can show you become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish, over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. All right, you don't have to be an expert to get started today. Help people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.